All right, we are back with another episode of the No One Told Me Hockey podcast. I think it's like episode 28 or 29 here. What is up, Chris? How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Jack. Just a nice, relaxing Sunday. I've been doing a lot of video analysis work today. Yeah, just a lot of work on the computer, and yeah, I got a nice little workout in this morning. Keep the legs fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I've been taking these cold showers lately, daily, and they feel amazing. Like
You like
you
it?
feel it's almost like a oh, I love it. It's like a glow. It's
Do
almost
you
like a
actually
euphoric
do
feeling.
you
I
do
swear,
you actually
it's
feel that?
unreal.
Do you actually feel that? Like you
Yeah,
get
it
like
feels insane. It,
really? I think every time
it
I'm
feels
taking a cold
insane after I
shower,
love
I,
it.
I never get that effect.
How long? How long how long do you take them for?
If I do it, it would be like 30 seconds, 45 seconds.
No,
You
you
longer?
gotta
Are you
try and
going
hit
longer?
like three to 5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
I tried going 5 minutes today.
Is it like
But
all the
yeah.
way at the bottom of coldness, like on your knob?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're all the way
Yeah,
down.
I try, yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean our cold tubs is broke at the rink right now, so been trying to mix those in. But yeah, it feels great. Like gives me a good energy boost and
mhm.
keeps the blood flowing. I hear it's good for recovery too, so
Okay.
any
What
way to help.
what time does the sun set there right now? Do you know off the top of your head? Like, is it dark out
Yeah,
right
right
now?
now actually.
Is
Literally
it
right the sun's setting right now. About 6:30 I'd say.
okay?
Around
So
6:30.
you're right in line with us here.
6:47 right now, and it's getting dark. But
Okay.
yeah, I think it's a little warmer here. There's been yesterday was like 75 and sunny. It was unreal.
Do you know the
Yeah, it's really
elevation
nice.
there? Do you know the elevation there
Um,
or no?
no, I
Because I
do
know there's
not. But
mountains there, right?
there's like a lot of yeah, there is. There's a ton of mountains and stuff like that. I went for a
Okay.
nice walk in the city yesterday. Beautiful, beautiful city here. Castle on the Hill. Yeah, it was awesome. Downtown, beautiful.
How is the food there?
It's pretty like standard European food, like a lot of like schnitzel and like sausage and
Yeah, yeah.
potato. A lot
A
of
lot of
there's like a lot of
potatoes.
Italian food too.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. A
I
lot
was
of
gonna say,
Italian food too.
the Italians bled into Austria with their food and stuff?
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, I mean it's pretty close to Italy. It's the northern
Mhm.
side of Italy, but
All right.
um, no, it's good. The pizza doesn't match the same for me, and that's what I miss about home the most. Nice thin
Really, you like
crust.
the American pizza better than like the pizza out there?
Well, just from like the Chicago tavern style, like the thin and crispy stuff. They don't really have it. It's more like a yeasty bready here, and you have to eat it
Yeah.
fresh. If it's not fresh, it's terrible. Like once it sits cold, like it's no good.
You can't heat that
Like you
up
can't
like you
order
can
it.
at home. Yeah, yeah.
No, not at all. Like you have to eat it at the restaurant right when it comes out of the oven. Otherwise, not not worth it.
One thing that makes
But
me mad
yeah,
about, pizza in Chicago, not the pizza in Chicago, but when people think about pizza in Chicago, all they think about is deep dish, but, like, the
yeah,
tavern style
exactly.
that you just said is the best pizza around. It's unmatched, I think, compared
Yeah,
to any other
it,
pizza.
I'm 100% with
It's
you. Guarantee. Yeah, for me, that's a no-brainer. That's why I said that's
yeah.
what I miss the most. And
Mhm.
exactly, everyone just thinks, oh, deep dish. Like it's kind of
Deep
hit or miss
dish.
for people. I personally like it. I like to
Yeah, me
lose,
too.
really good. But once in a while, I can't have that every time.
No,
Once in a
no, and
while.
people think we eat it, like, once a week, like deep dish. You get it, like, once
Exactly.
a year. It's like a once a year thing. It's not
Exactly.
like you're getting it every
I
week.
mean, a little
Oh,
couple
I
times
hate that.
more, but yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe 5, 6 times a
Oh, that's
year.
funny.
But yeah,
Yeah, everyone
exactly.
thinks you're just crushing deep dish all the time.
Crushing, yeah, crushing pies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, alright.
So,
That's funny. Well, alright, so I wanna ask you this question, and because obviously, like, you have an older brother who went down the major junior route, and then you went down the NCAA route, so I wanted to talk to you about the differences between NCAA and going to play major juniors in Canada.
yeah, I mean, there's obviously a big difference, and back then, I think the major junior route, some people could have said, okay, like to get to the NHL, that might have been the best route, but I think it's changing now. And I
Yeah.
feel like if
Mhm.
you're not going to be like a first round pick or a really high end pick, I think college is the way to go. There's so much more time to develop. Because You play major junior or junior A in the United States, you're done at, you can max out at 20 years old. After that, the major junior guys, those guys got to go right to pro. Whereas the guys in the States, they can go to college for
Right.
4 years and develop your game for another 4 years, become a man. Because at 20-year-old, you're really not a man yet, right? Some guys
Mhm.
kind of are, but
Yeah.
majority of people, they're not nowhere near, at least nowhere near their full potential. And at college, you can really,
Yeah.
really develop that over 4 years. There's less games, so you can work on building your body up
True.
the right
True.
way.
Mhm.
And then you enter pro at 23, 24 years old, and you're a lot more ready for pro. I
Mhm.
feel than the major junior guys. Then obviously you get the McDavids and the Bedards and all those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, major junior, or even if you're a guy that could jump right into the American League and be in the show within a year or so, like yeah, still. But I still think college is um, overall it's a more secure route. Obviously, you get your education. Not to say the major junior you
Mhm.
can't get your education because it's actually a pretty good setup. Whatever your deal is that you sign, I think every year you play, you get a year free of eligibility uh, or school paid for. I mean, in the
Yeah. Yep.
Canadian college,
Mhm.
U Sports, yeah, which is
Right.
still good hockey too. But
I think U
I don't think it's
Sports
the
is
same as the
getting
NCAA.
U Sports is getting a lot better, I think, over the years. You see a lot of guys going to play U Sports that are Canadians.
Yeah, and you see them go pro too after for sure.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
obviously, the higher end guys coming out of the colleges are coming from NCAA over U Sports.
Yeah. Yeah, for
But
sure.
I mean, either way, not bad if you want to decide to go major junior. You can get your college paid for, and like that's still good. You can always go play pro after, but I think the NCAA route um, is just overall a better play
Yeah.
if you're not a super high end player. And honestly, talking to my older brother, yeah, he went major junior. He kind of wishes that he went the college route because he had to decide
Early,
after he was
right?
done
You
with
yeah.
junior. Yeah, he decides, okay, do I go to school and get my school paid for, or do I go play pro right away? And he decided to play pro. So then he was left actually without the college package either because he decided to play pro
Yeah.
right after major junior.
Yeah. That is a tough
So
decision to make at 20 years old if you think about it. Like,
I mean, it's
what
earlier.
yeah. True, true, it is early.
16,
Yeah.
15,
Yeah, I
16.
guess you're making so for people who don't know, like, if you go and play major juniors, you essentially like, overall, essentially, if you play major juniors, you lose your, like, NCAA college eligibility. Now there's ways or, like, there's different ways that you still can play college. I don't know, like, all of them specifically, but it's, like, deciding between do you wanna play college or do you wanna play major juniors, like, essentially the big decision that you'd have to make at 16 or 17 years old, like your brother had to make.
15.
Yeah, yeah,
15
exactly.
years
So
old.
yeah,
Because that's
and
when you get drafted at 15, you know?
yeah, right,
And a lot of
exactly.
those players, they go when they're 16 years old
And
to play major junior, 16, 17.
mhm. I think so
So yeah, it's early. It comes early.
I think it makes sense for players who are really good at a young age and, they're kind of on that trajectory. But I would say, like,
Mhm.
if you're gonna be like a middle of the pack major junior guy, especially if you're coming from America, like, I think it's,
Yeah.
take that time. Like, college just gives you that so much more time to develop, and it doesn't have
Hmm.
like a stigma around it. Like, if you go to college and if you go play NCAA, it's not like going to play U Sports. Like, NCAA still has that
Exactly.
really high pedigree of, okay, these kids are getting better. It's not like it's a good
Hmm.
stepping stone. It's not like an even move almost. Like, going to U Sports is kinda like, okay, like, you're kinda "done" in quotes, whereas NCAA is like, that's the next step.
Exactly. Exactly. And not to mention the experience you have of college. Like you're there
Yeah.
4 years.
Mhm.
People say it's the best years of your life. You're there. You make lifelong friendship. Meet your
Yep.
brothers there. You know.
Oh, it's
Um,
so fun. It's so
yeah.
fun.
And the school. Yeah. Exactly. That's another huge experience in itself. Is just going to
Mhm.
going to school in the United
Yeah.
States for sure.
I
And
think
if you get to
I
go to a
really
big university, that's even more fun.
Oh, dude, I know. I always debate like I always think back now. I'm like that would be so fun to have gone to a big university, but at the same time, going to like a smaller school was still just just as fun in certain aspects.
exactly. You know, you really bond with your teammates and uh, create really tight friendships there.
Yeah,
So
I
no,
think
no regrets at all.
going to a smaller school forces you more to, like, hang out with the boys more because there's not as much, in quotes, "as much to do" compared to going to, like, a Big 10 school with, they always have shit
Exactly.
going on there. Like, if you're going to a small
Yeah,
school,
for
it's
sure.
like, there's only a couple
Hmm.
things you guys can do, but what if you're with the boys,
Yeah.
it's fun as hell. So,
Oh, exactly. Love
but
the college days.
I think too
And talking to a lot of my
go ahead.
teammates too. Sorry, talking to a lot of my teammates. Just playing pro the past couple years. Like a lot of them are like, man, I really think I wish I would have went to college to play NCAA instead of going
Really?
the major junior route. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like you said, the it's not it's definitely I think it's shifting towards more of the college, like, where they're
Hmm.
pulling people from. College is becoming it's growing every year. So maybe back
Exactly.
when, some of your teammates were playing, making
Hmm.
that decision, it was more of the major junior was the way to go to the NHL. And now you see it's kind of
Yeah.
shifting more and
Exactly.
more, I think, every year.
Hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
No, 100%.
I think it's
Agree
good
with
for
you on
late
that.
bloomers. I think it's the best for players who aren't
Exactly.
necessarily developed at that 17, 18-year-old range. It gives you so much
Exactly.
longer to have that keep your dream alive, essentially. It allows you to keep your
Exactly.
dream
It really
alive.
does.
Yeah. Yeah. So
It
I
really
think
does.
that's what it's best for, and it's super fun to do.
It is.
So,
It is. Yeah.
yeah, building on top of that, I want to talk to you about having more time than you think in terms of developing and progressing in your hockey career because it is tough.
It's that's one term I wish I would have told myself when I was 15, 16 years old. And honestly, my
Mhm.
whole career until I
Yep.
was 23 or so. Seriously, like
Mhm.
a lot of players, they put so much pressure on themselves. They might be playing in a really good junior league, might be playing in the USHL or the NA or major junior, but they're seeing these absolute studs. Bedard, McDavid, we talked about, these kids are the same age and now they're playing in the NHL, ripping up the NHL.
Right,
And I think
right.
that kind of kills kids' confidence and kills their dreams of. And I saw it a lot when I was playing in juniors. Like so many of these players, like they have so much more to give, and I know it, but they're just I'm done, whatever. I'm gonna do this. I know I'm not making it here. I know I'm not making it there. Um,
Mhm.
and honestly, like I fed into that a little bit just because being around it so much, and I just wish I wish that was just not part of my mindset, and it should be part of any player's mindset.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you can make it to the NHL or American or whatever, wherever you want to
Mhm.
go. You There's more time than you think.
Yeah.
Great example with myself. I didn't really. I thought I was kind of done in that aspect, and I didn't really get a big chance to play in college until my senior year. So I
Mhm.
was not playing a lot of minutes for my freshman, sophomore, junior year. And I didn't even think maybe, okay, I'll be lucky if I even play in the ECHL or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
And I got that opportunity my senior year, and I just had no regrets. And
Mhm.
I kept trying to get better every year, every off season. The off season is really where it starts too. You really have to
Yeah.
believe in yourself, and um, basically turned my career around within 2 seasons. Had a really good
Mhm.
senior year, had the COVID year. I said, okay, I'll go back another year. Had another really good year, and then now more options have opened up for me that I didn't even think was possible
Yeah.
a few years ago. And I just wish that I kind of had the mindset that I adapted when I was 23, 24 years old, when I was younger,
Mhm. Yeah, I
going through
think
juniors, especially through juniors.
yeah, juniors is the worst. I think the so 2 things. I think to realize that you have more time, you almost have to already have been through the situation. Like, it's like after you've already gone through it and you take a second to, like, actually look back and you're like, holy shit, like, I had so much more time than what I was putting in my head. But the hard thing about juniors is, especially I think with juniors, is you're on a time clock essentially from when you're, start juniors, it's coming to an end at it has to come to an end at 21. So you have these 2 or 3 years. Real That's like your prime time years to really do something with hockey if you want to take that next step. So I think that's one thing with juniors is like, you're running out of time. And then same with college. I'm sure for me playing D3, like I pretty much knew like I could have gone and played like okay pro at like, some pro leagues after, but I didn't I don't know. I wasn't in the mindset to go do it to do so,
Hmm.
and it wasn't gonna be great hockey, so I was just like, I was kind of at bay with it. But for like you playing Division 1, it's like, okay, like if I have these good years, I can go and play at in XYZ league. But your clock is still ticking at that point too, because you have 4 years or for fifth year option for the COVID guys, but your clock is still ticking, so you feel that pressure even more when you have limited time to do something. So I think that makes it really hard too with how you're kind of capped on time.
No, I couldn't agree with you more there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just too bad with uh, exactly, especially starting in juniors, just how it affects players. You
Yeah.
know,
Mhm. It
the mental side of the game,
Yeah.
everything. It kind of your motivation, your dreams.
Mhm.
And I've seen it. I've seen it with so many players. Like I have a really good friend, Brogan Rafferty. He played double A until he was a midget, and that's when he first made the
So did
jump.
I. I played double A
Yeah.
up until midget minor.
See,
Yeah, it's crazy.
you know,
Uh,
you make the
Go ahead.
jump one step at a time. Really, I think players just really what they should be taking out of
Mhm.
this one step at a time, one foot in front of the other. All right.
Yeah.
Don't look too far ahead.
Mhm.
What's right in front of you? What do you have to do right now to be successful?
Yeah.
And if you can just take it day by day, step by step, and try and block some of that out.
I think that comes when you have really I think that comes when you have clearly defined goals in your head. Like you kind of have these goals maybe for a short term that can kind of help you have some clarity on what you're actually doing. I know for me, because I went into juniors at 17 and I was like, oh, I got 4 years. Like I'm gonna get a Division 1 commitment, no problem. Like I got 4 years to do it. I can get one in that time. And then year two comes by and you're like, okay, like I got 3 more years and I haven't talked to a team yet. And then you got two and then one, and it's like, holy shit. All right, I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
And that can really affect the way see yourself, your confidence in your game, your goals that you're trying to achieve. So it kind of just like clouds your vision and ultimate goal when you're focusing too far out in advance, rather than just focusing on where you're at now and what you need to do there to be able to take that next step. You're like looking way too far in advance.
And one thing I could add to that too, I mean, it kind of aligns with what I went through. I had a kind of a crazy junior career. I was all over the place, traded here, there. I played the USHL, BCHL, and then I was back against the wall. Actually,
Mhm.
I did have a commitment to Colorado College, but they changed coaching staffs and decommitted me. That was whatever with that. Yeah, that kind
Right.
of that one didn't feel good too. I could tell you that. But
Yeah.
my last year, I just
I bet it
exactly.
didn't.
I kind
Fuck.
of had some set goals. Yeah, that one sucked. But like my last year junior, I didn't have a commitment, and but what really helped was I had a lot of people around me that believed in me, and I really believed in myself. And exactly, it's just trying not to look too far in advance, but
Mhm.
just what's here right now. What do I need to do right now? And do you believe in yourself? And you
Mhm.
have to believe in yourself. If you don't really believe in
Yeah.
yourself, you can say it, but like, do you truly believe in yourself? Like, can you visualize yourself
Right.
doing these things, making these plays, making stuff happen,
Mhm.
and like just telling yourself? I think that's a big part of it too. And then same thing would happen with college again. 1, 2, 3 didn't play a lot. My last year, which I thought could have been my last year, my senior year, whatever. No regrets. I don't care. I believe I can do this. And when I
Mhm.
look back in my career, like the times when I said that, when I really truly believed that I could do something, uh, it did happen.
Yeah, I really do think it's super important to kind of realize where you're at in a situation, and you got to try to take a step back and remove yourself from the situation and realize, like the whole point of it is realize that you have more time than you think. Take a deep breath, set some goals for yourself and then work towards those. As soon as you kind of build up this unnecessary pressure in yourself when you start making up all these things in your head about time, commitments, coaches, players playing over you, you kind of build all these roadblocks in your you kind of self-destruct yourself, your mindset by building all these roadblocks into your head. And if you can really take a step back, realize you have time, set yourself, get yourself in a good mindset, I think you'll be fine. You have time to do it.
I couldn't agree more. And like, I just think now I'm like, I wish, I wish I knew what I
Mhm.
know now when I was
I
17,
know,
18 years old, when stuff wasn't going great for me.
right.
I wish I knew what I knew now. You have a lot more time,
Mhm.
you think.
I know. The good thing for you though is you're still playing pro hockey, so now you can take those things that you've learned and you can still apply them now. Now that I'm done with hockey, like I'm trying to take the things that I learned from mainly a lot of it was from juniors, with like the pressure you're putting on yourself, the time and stuff, and I'm trying to apply that into different things in my life now with work and engineering, and stuff like that. Like
It's
now
probably
I'm trying to
easier.
find ways to apply it now, and it can yeah, yeah, it is for sure. It's for sure, but I still find myself like clouding my judgment with all these like roadblocks and stuff. And you still have to take a step back and trying to look at what you're trying to do. Even with the podcast or line mates, stuff like that, like trying to get a clear vision on what the goal is hard to do. It's really hard to do.
Clarity. Yeah. Clarity is huge. Having, like we said,
Yeah.
clear vision, that is massive. If you don't, yeah, if it's foggy,
hmm
you don't know quite what you want. That's the first thing. You
hmm
need to decide what you want.
I think the one way you can get clarity on certain situations too is you have to be open to talking to people around you about it. Like talk to your parents, like talk to your close teammates or friends, or if you're close with your coach, talk to your coach and have them have an outside source kind of maybe help you walk you through what you're going through or to help you get some clarity on where you're at, what you're trying to do, like your current situation for sure. Because when you're in it alone, you're just building up all these artificial things in your head.
Honestly, for me, like that's
Mhm,
one major thing that kind of turned my whole career around. Because I talked about how I started Pro Daro because that's I like I said I always
mhm,
was coaching in the off season and I loved it, and then I realized, okay, this is really what I want to do when I'm done playing. And going into my senior year, I said, screw it,
mhm.
I'm going to start this thing right now. And I fell in love with it even more when you were there, when you helped me start it, start the Instagram page. Like that was
Yeah,
pure
yeah, yeah,
clarity for
right,
me. I knew what
right.
I wanted to do. And exactly, you were there too. You helped
Mhm,
me decide. You and some other people for sure. And uh,
mhm.
I look back. There's not one thing I regret about that. The second I started that, and you know what, that helped me for life and future. But that kind of turned my whole career around too, because I'm in a way like my first client, and I started putting all this extra time into my
Right.
own work and my own skill development, and uh, kind of just
Mhm.
put my career in a different trajectory than where it was heading.
Do you think that starting Prodero also helped you gain maybe some like clarity in your game because you're now teaching kids that, you're helping guide younger kids, which is essentially like teaching your younger self, skills, and it kind of helped you put into perspective your own game, what your philosophies are on different situations and stuff, and it kind of helped you maybe
100%.
define your game more as well. Yeah.
100%.
Okay, I figured.
100%. Like I said, when I started that and just put all my passion, everything into it, like it just, my career just went like that ever since I started it.
Mhm.
And it's crazy how things like that kind of happen.
Yeah.
It affects different parts of your life, but
Yeah.
yeah, no regrets at all. I'm
Mhm.
so happy I found clarity. That was what I wanted to do. I didn't care what anyone
Mhm.
thought. I just did it.
Now, I wanna ask you about this. Okay, so how much do you think your mindset slash like your mental we kind of been touching on it just now, but of mental health affects your performance in hockey?
Yeah, and it's most 95%. Like so
I would
much.
agree.
I think
Yeah.
so much is starts what's your mindset, and that has a direct correlation with how you're playing hockey.
Mhm.
And I could look back in a lot of my games, some games maybe I wasn't just in it, or I was just kind of going through the motions, not thinking or not or overthinking, right? Um,
Mhm.
and a lot of that was what was my mindset that day. And I think to some of the best games that I played, I know my mindset was I gave myself a few things to focus on. I knew I was really confident in my ability, and I just was more living, playing in the moment, really playing in the
Mhm.
moment and not trying to think too much, and just having that confidence and really wanting it. And a big thing too, no one talks about a lot is you need to have fun. At least I do. Having fun when you're playing, like think
Yep.
about playing just like 3-on-3 pond hockey
Yep.
with your buddies, in the
Right.
middle of winter, frozen pond. Like that is so much fun,
So fun.
and you're probably doing some crazy stuff out there. But like I think you need to take a little bit from that um, and put it into when you're playing a real hockey game. Like you need to have fun out there. And I think back to some of my best games, I was
Yeah.
having so much fun. I couldn't wait to get back on the ice. I wanted it. I was in the moment. I wanted it. And
Mhm.
that all starts right here. All starts mental. What's your mental health?
Yeah.
And sometimes you might be going through something. Your mind's not really focused on hockey, and that can definitely affect how you're playing for sure.
I was just gonna say, like, one of the things I noticed, like, so I'll start off with this. I struggled a bunch, like, with, I was like had like struggling mentally, like outside of the rink that wasn't even hockey related. So then when it was time to go to the rink, like I didn't even want to go to the rink because I was so like I was so like not even in hockey mode just because of what was going on outside of the rink. So that affected me a lot in terms of development. And then as soon as you get to games, you're not even in the right mindset to go play the game. So that affected me a bunch. Was like stuff going on outside of the rink, mainly like dating a girl was like it was like so fucking dumb looking back now. Like I just put myself in a hole for this fucking girl or whatever, but like, when you're going through it, you're going through it. So it's like you can't do any, you're
No, it's
just
true.
riding the wave. You're riding the wave.
Yeah, I've seen so many players like that. Just
It's
yeah, something.
crazy.
It might not even be hockey related, but yeah, it really does affect. And
Mhm.
I think if you could find a way uh, to attack that and conquer mentally,
Mhm.
I think it's going to directly correlate with your on ice
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah, I agree. And then the other thing I struggled with, like what we were just talking about in terms of like being in a good mental state, was the worst times I played hockey was when I was putting all these pressures on myself about commitment or plus minus or goals or assists, like or what the coach thinks of me, like just building up all these things on top of me where I felt like when I got to a game or a practice, like I couldn't even think about what I was doing out there, especially when you're on the bench. Like if you get scored on, like you're like, fuck, like my career's over, blah, blah, blah. Like you can't even focus on what's at hand because you're so worried about the things way down the road or the outcome of things that you can't even control. So that really affected me as well. And then I was just gonna say this as well, the about having fun. I finally like learned in college, like even days I didn't want to go to the rink, like I had to almost like create artificial fun for myself. So like that, like being like when you get out on the ice, like being loud, like joking with some of your good buddies, like when you're skating around and like just building that artificial fun. So by the time you do get into practice, you kind of have that energy behind you now. And same thing on the
I,
bench, like during games, like even like say I wasn't having a good game or something, like building that artificial fun or like you being loud on the bench, like or being energetic. I think that can change your mindset in a game or a situation if you can kind of just, even if you don't want to be it, loud or fun or supporting your teammates, if you can just do it for the first like 30 seconds, I think it's going to help you. Then other guys are going to build on top of it. And now you guys are having a fucking blast on the bench, like cheering each other on and whatever. And you kind of just build this artificial fun, but then it turns into actual fun.
I couldn't agree with you more on that. I actually have a really good story to tell you. Um, that goes just perfectly with that. So, my senior year in college, we were shut down for we had COVID, and we were shut down
Hmm.
for a long time, and I think
Yeah.
we had to quarantine for a week or something, and then I know we didn't have a lot of our games got canceled, and then the next week we had practice, um, and then on the weekend we had two inter squad games because we have
Mhm.
so many freaking players at college. We had like 36 players on our team, so we had plenty plenty of guys to do it
Yeah.
to do an inter squad game,
A
and
lot
we
of
treated it like
bodies,
a
a lot
real
of
game, which
bodies.
was kind of cool.
Yeah.
We treated it like a real game, which was cool, kind of because we showed up in our suits and everything, had our game jerseys, we had refs too
Mhm.
and everything, so that was kind of cool. But I remember the first game
Yeah.
I played like absolute shit. I played so bad, um, and I remember my mind just was not in the game. I remember I was just not in it. I had a pissy attitude. I was like,
Yeah.
screw this. I remember, and after that game, it stung me. Actually, I was like so pissed at myself for how bad I played. And then the next day, uh, we
Mhm.
had another game the next day, and I remember on the way, and
Mhm.
I left my dorm early. Got a Joe, a cup of Joe on the way, extra tall, extra big one. And you know what I said? You know what? Screw this. I'm going to show up with an unbelievable mindset and have so much energy and just try and have so much fun today. And I remember I got out, I drank my Joe, so I was
Mhm.
buzzing off the caffeine first of all. And then in warm ups, I was just screaming left and right, woo, like jumping into the glass, like trying to get this artificial energy.
Yeah.
And then guys are looking out like, what the hell is Doge doing this
Mhm.
morning? And I kid you not, I had like one of the best games I've ever played in my life. It was an inter squad game, but we were
Yeah.
still competing. Like guys are competing for lineup spots out
Still.
there. Like coaches up in the stands watching. Like, and
Right.
I remember
Right.
I played
Mhm.
one of the best games I ever played, regardless if it was an inter squad game or not. But like it all started.
Mhm.
I remember I walked out of the rink that day. I was like, I can't believe this. Like, so 95% is starting right here mentally, and it's so
Mhm.
true. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I wish I knew all of this years ago. And
Yeah,
I
man.
found that
It's
out my senior year of college, but
Mhm.
I figured it out eventually. I think for some of the players listening, I think you could really learn from some of this stuff that has
Mhm.
helped Jack and I
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, it takes one situation like that. I remember, like, it was, like, my junior year when I think I was probably like, I became, like, our number 1 defenseman for our college team, and so I had to be the leader, like, for the, defenseman. So it was, like, the first time where I was like, "Okay, I actually have to be aware of my emotions and how I'm acting on the bench because it's going to bleed into other guys who are also, who my other D partners or my other 5 defensemen." So that was like the first time, like I remember the first game. I remember I was like, okay, like I have to have good bench energy. Like I can't be moaning and groaning, on the bench. Like I have to be aware of that. And once after that game, like for the next 2 years, I was for the most part hyper aware of how I was acting, the energy I was giving off, and it translates to other guys on the bench. They feed off of that. And then if everyone's feeding off of that, everyone's in good energy. It's fun. Everyone's having fun. You're playing good. So I do think like if you can just try to notice your emotions, just start picking up on little things like after you get scored, how are you acting? And if you can start to be aware of that stuff, I think you can really start to change your mindset and trying to turn it into, try to channel positive energy into your game because it can really help. So
Oh,
that
exactly.
was
Yeah,
my
exactly. It's
but
not just going to help you; it's going to help your teammates around you. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. If you get a couple guys who buy in, then the other guys will start to follow as well for sure on that
exactly.
energy stuff. That does it for episode number 27 or 28 of the No One Told Me Hockey podcast. I think we talked about some great stuff today. We talked about NCAA versus major juniors. You definitely have more time than you think out there if you're playing juniors or college or youth hockey for sure. And then if your mind's not right, you're not going to be playing right. So make sure to get that mental game locked in. So that does it. Chris, thanks for hopping on with me and you have a good rest of your week or start of the week, I guess.
Sounds great. Yeah, yeah, true. Monday, big one tomorrow.
Big one.
Get back to it. All right, that
All
was
right, I'll talk
awesome.
to you later.
Yeah, see ya.
See ya.